And good morning again, everyone. It is a Saturday morning, and boy, what a day for driving around in the Calaboo. There are more wrecks out there in the demolition derby. Saturday morning, 31 will be all we get for a high. 12 degrees tonight. Tomorrow, snow again, and 29 will be the high. Good morning, everyone. 710 KNUS. I'm Peter Boyles. Good to have everybody here. We got a good show in the next hour, and I've been billboarding the book. The book is entitled Family of Spies, and being on this side of the microphone, lots of things get sent to us. And actually, it was Adam said to me, "Hey, read this book, boss." And it is improbable but true. And one of those ones, once you start, you stay with it. And it almost doesn't make sense, but it does. And so it begins, this woman who will be our guest, she and her husband will be our guest, and they get a letter from a screenwriter asking them about a story, Your Family, World War II, Nazi Spies. And this woman's shocked, and she's confused, and she asks her then 70-year-old father, whose name is Eberhard, what could possibly be this could be about. And he stalls and he deflects and he starts to cry. And then he said he knew this day would come. And it's a very prominent Berlin family and the rise of the Nazis. And again, out of these hard times that had been following them, we were talking about the consequences of history. And when the daughter of the family, Eberhard's sister Ruth, meets Nazi leader Joseph Goebbels, the Gauleiter, and the two hit it off, and they begin a relationship, an affair. And Ruth has a secret. The family's half Jewish. And then here it comes. And so Goebbels finds out they're not going to be shamed by this. So he manages instead to have the entire family go to Hawaii and work as spies. And they spy for the Japanese. What a story. And it's true. And she knows nothing of it. And as she, grows up in the U.S., and then Ruth and her parents, and then the spy system. And in fact, the dad is out sending messages. And I'd always read about, the so-called midget submarines and the full-size submarines, Japanese submarines that came into Pearl Harbor. And he was flashing them at night. And you think of Paul Revere, putting lamps in the North Tower, in the North Church, to say, here they are. And so what happens to them afterward? And we were talking yesterday on the radio show, talking about, following orders and how that whole Nuremberg principles had come down. No, you don't get to say that. You don't get to say, I was only doing what I was told. So we're going to do that, but in a couple of seconds here, we're going to go to the epicenter of motorcycling. We're going to Sturgis. And in Sturgis, Vinny Terranova, and this coming Sunday, a week from this coming Sunday, is the 40th annual Toy Run. And for the folks that don't know, Children's Hospital's Toy Run, and it began 40 years ago. And Vinny then and Kathy had Rocky Mountain Harley, and with a group of old bikers, I think there was 8 to 10 of them, they decided to take toys to Children's Hospital, the old Children's Hospital, not the one at Anschutz. And this coming Sunday, December the 7th, will be the 40th year. And Vinny and, of course, and my partner, Keith Ball, they're up in Sturgis. This is the Bandit and the Blade. We'll put them on together and see what happens. But the 40th annual Children's Hospital, and they're going to tribute Vinny and Kathy. She's out of town for those 40 years ago. And I've done it for 30 years, and it's just probably one of the most, he's moving stuff up now, one of the most emotional things you can do for the holidays. And everybody takes a toy, a new toy, unwrapped, and you load them onto bikes, and we go to Children's Hospital. And there are people that will now unload your toys and put them in these big bins. And then when kids are sick, and not only the kid, but his brothers and sisters, they get to pick a toy. And the guys have been on with us now the last couple of weeks talking about how so many toys come, and there's still, even after the kids have surgery in June, there's still enough toys. So we're going to do that. And then the book, Family of Spies. How far along are we? We got the guys? Almost. So 710 KNUS Denver's talk station. And again, really be careful. I mean, you don't need me to tell you that, but boy, roads are really nasty this morning. As an old traffic reporter, I made my bones as a traffic reporter for working for Dan Hopkins in the AAA Auto Club. And what I understand about this, and I know nothing at all about science, but it was warm yesterday. And then it starts to rain, and then that freeze came. And I started off work this morning. Man, there are people like roller derby. Guys are like slip sliding everywhere. All over Hamden, people were sliding, and the highway shut down. And I'm going, whoa, watch this. So you don't need me to say it, but there it is. And also, a week from tomorrow is Children's Hospital's Colorado's Toy Run, and it's the 7th of December. And they're going to be a tribute to Vince, and that's why he's going to come on, and he's going to come down, and we're going to all be together. So 303-696-1971 is our phone number. If you want to drop in, give me a road report. We can pass it on to other people. And one more thing, and again, it's important to say this. The guy's back. He sends me these bizarre messages about the Children's Hospital Toy Run. More toys for illegals and brown anchor babies. This is a human being, right? I'm dropping a dime and calling on ICE to be there. This is a human being. Like, have you ever been in that hospital? And after COVID, they used to be where we could walk on the wards, and I knew that would eventually end. But we always said, and I think I've heard Vinny say it, I've heard everybody involved in the toy run, you come out of the hospital, and there were guys head to their bikes, and there's always parties other places. And inevitably, somebody says, we got no problems. We have no problems at all. And, if you have a little kid on that ward or up in any one of the rooms, and there's rooms they have to keep germ-free rooms, and I've got to tour them. But now since COVID, and rightfully so, we don't go on the wards anymore. Here's my boy here. I don't know if it's a put on or this is like a real dude. More toys for illegals and brown anchor babies, ? I'm dropping a dime and calling on ICE to be there. We got Keith, but no Vince yet. Well, let's bring him up. Ladies and gentlemen, if there is ever one of those people that you can say was present at the creation, this is one of them. His name is Keith Ball, and all of us who read Easy Riders magazine, starting in the 70s, he wrote under the name of Bandit. And we were all aware of who he was. I met him in Sturgis for the first time, and now we're working on a project together. But he went on the mag. Hey, first of all, Keith, thanks for doing this. We're waiting for Vinny to join us, and you're going to be up on the screen with us. What year did you go?
You're kind of in a reverb.
We got it now. How's it sound now? We sound better?
Good. Yeah,
right.
That's better.
There it is. Thanks, boss. What year did you join the magazine?
1971.
And the mag started in 1970, right?
Well, the first one was published in 1971.
In California.
They may have started the business in 1970, but the first issue came out in 1971.
Well, what was the philosophy? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I started on the second issue.
What were you doing at the time when they recruited you to write for that mag?
I was going to college on the GI Bill. I had just got back I had just got out of the Navy. I had done 3 tours in Vietnam. I was going to college on the GI Bill and building bikes on the side. And I came across this new magazine, and I had just helped a friend build a knucklehead. And so I wrote to the magazine and I said, I've got this kind of cool bike. You might want to check it out. Well, it just turned out that the magazine was being published in Seal Beach, like 5 miles from Naples Island, where I was, and my high school buddy and his knucklehead. So the publisher, Lou Kimsey, came over and checked the bike, but he fell in love with my rat bike. So he wanted to feature that first. Anyway, that's how it started.
But the culture of the so-called one percenter, or the culture, the chopper culture, and all of those men and women who built this, and we have had these really good heart-to-heart talks. Very few of those people ever made any money at all from what they had developed. Other people were able to cash in on them. Keith, is that fair to say that?
Yeah, well, the whole thing, it's kind of interesting, especially nowadays, because sort of a popularity contest, like I've got 8,000 followers on my Instagram. I'm special, I'm popular.
Yeah, but,
we were bikers because we were kind of outcast. And, we just worked on our bikes and we rode, and we kind of felt the nature of the open road. And that was just us. It was just us, our machine, and the road. We didn't care about being popular. We didn't even want to hang out with anybody.
But, ... movies began to be made. Roger Corman made a career out of it.
Right.
Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper. I mean, that stuff is important. And when I see you and I talk to you, and I know, you're in the epicenter. You're when the volcano goes. Those were the guys. And you have moved. Now you've moved the magazine to Sturgis, and now you're living in Sturgis, and you're a Southern Cal kid. What's the significance of moving and going to Sturgis? Seriously, I mean, I know there is.
Mean, come on, Peter. I was living in L.A. I've lived in L.A. all my life. L.A. was just going to the dogs. I was just turning 70 years old, and I lived in an old hotel that was once a brothel in Los Angeles, right across the street from the Port of Los Angeles, and one day I woke up and I said, "It's time for a new adventure. Let's get the hell out of here."
Yeah, and you're not alone. I've got a lot of people leaving. But I'm reading your book right now, Terry the Tramp, and this is one of I never knew he existed. I'd heard the name Terry the Tramp, but I didn't know the story of Terry the Tramp, and that's that one percenter outlaw, and you write his life, and it's legit. It's a true story with pictures. Why were I still think that the culture creates those guys. There was a term for those of us who remember called counterculture. And that was a jacket that was given to you guys. You were the counterculture, but it was also hippies and war protesters and, all those roll into one ball. Actually, the music, and by the way, I got to tell you, you really know music because you put music in the book, like who was doing what and playing. And I'm an old disc jockey, so, it's like, yeah, man, he knows that stuff. So, again, that all happened pretty much in Southern Cal, by and large, did it not? Or in San Francisco as well?
Well, you've brought up a bunch of topics. One is the whole one percenter deal, and a lot of those guys almost started before our culture started to spread to the loners and to the bike builders that grew across the country. Actually, probably Peter Fonda, and like you said, Corman, the guy that did those B biker movies. Those guys started that based on the one percenter.
Absolutely.
And the one percenter, I was a one percenter for a little while, but that whole, it's a different deal than, to me, being a biker. Being a biker is being a loner. It's being you and your machine. And a lot of it is about the machine. Whereas one percenter, they're about the club. They're about a group. And I'd almost say that the group and the club is more important than the machine, whereas, just the average biker is just the machine and the open road.
But
now,
yeah,
there's a crazy definition that just came from Sturgis, South Dakota. Who knows?
If I read this correctly and I listen to people, and I sat and talked with you for hours, and of course I talked with Peter Fonda for hours and talked to Vinny for hours, that after the after the Second World War is the first go-round of these guys, and they come home, and there was Hell's Angels was a bomber, and there was it was a movie, and those guys that showed up after the Second World War, they really were the beginnings, were they not?
Yes, absolutely. The Second World War really. When the guys came home, they I think it's the Terry the Tramp book that I wrote the foreword, and I had done a lot of studying, and I discovered that the AMA may have had a major role in starting the 1%er movement, because the AMA was ruled by a guy who was like a dictator, and he wanted everybody to wear uniforms and come to the events all polished, and actually that comes out of the military. So he was forcing this stuff to the point where when these guys would show up to go to the races, they were turned down.
They weren't allowed in, were they?
And so they weren't allowed in. Yeah. So, and they weren't allowed to race. And so, to me, that they went home and said, "Hey, screw those guys. We're going to get crazy." And so they did. They got crazy.
If you just turned on your radio or watching the stream, that's Keith Ball, a.k.a. Bandit. We're waiting for Vinny to join us as well. But wasn't there a place called Hollister, California, and the manufacturer of the event at Hollister, but that spins into what becomes the Rebel Without a Cause, not Rebel Without a Cause. It turns into the Brando film. The Wild One. Yeah. And tell that connection, because isn't that the moment when they say 99% of those of us who ride are upstanding citizens, and somebody said we're the 1%.
Well, you media guys always want to do that. You want to say, that picture in Life magazine,
that was a fake.
That changed the world. Well, no, it didn't change the world. The guys were doing this stuff. Yeah. In fact, the picture in Life magazine was posed.
That's what I'm saying.
They picked some farmer off the street and said, "Sit on this motorcycle and look drunk."
And they covered him with beer cans all around his tires.
And they scattered beer cans around him, and bada bing, But to say that started the culture, I don't think so.
I don't believe it either. But it's when they saw it, wasn't that the reason? And we're picking up on the other side of the break that Brando did the film. Well, the man's here. And Keith Ball's with us, and Vinny Terranova will join us next Sunday, the 40th Annual Children's Hospital Colorado Toy Run. Hang on, everybody, 710 KNUS.
Your 710 5-day forecast is Saturday. Blustery winds 20 to 30 in the morning, settling down this afternoon, turning partly cloudy with highs in the lower to mid-30s. Lows tonight, low and mid-teens, clear early, increasing clouds again into Sunday morning. Mostly cloudy Sunday afternoon and evening, light snow showers. Highs low 30s and lows in the mid-teens. Temperatures Monday and Tuesday will get back to the lower and mid-40s. I'm meteorologist Don Watzel in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
morning, everybody. Love this show, and Vinny Terranova will join us in a second. I'm Peter Boyles. This is Radio Free Denver, good old 710 KNUS. Roads are nasty, light snow, 31 will be the high, 12 degrees tonight, 29 on Sunday. Then coming up, the book Family of Spies. Talk about my friends at Water Pros. And Water Pros cares about the quality of your water. We talk about how wonderful this firm is and what they do. They remove forever chemicals and microplastics and hard water with Water Pros. They call it the Peter Boyles Special. Let them come to your home. That's the first step, and let them test your water. And they have whole water softeners and point of reverse osmosis drinking water systems, and they install all that. But the first thing they do is test your water. And waterpros.net, sign up for your free in-home consultation. They come to your home. They test your water. What a great holiday gift. Answer all your questions and concerns about your water. And it's important. So trust the guys with My Water. They did the job. They'll do it for you. Water Pros is family-owned and veteran-owned business dedicated to providing you with the best in water treatment for less than the other guys. Go to waterpros.net today and request your free water test. You call them at 303-862-5554, 303-862-5554, and ask for the test, and that's the first step. 303-862-5554, and ask for the Peter Boyles Special today. Do we got them both now? We got everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, go to your screen, and you will see, first of all, the Bandit and now the Blade. Vinny Terranova joins us, Keith Ball, Peter Boyles. I'm in Denver. They're in Sturgis, and there's the man. Hey, Vince, I can see you now, man. Yo, this coming Sunday is the 40th annual Children's Hospital Toy Run. I'm going to ask you to tell the story of when this was originally done and why it was done.
Well, right when we first opened Rocky Mountain Harley Davidson, back when it was pretty crazy, pretty wild, man. We had fun, and bikers were getting a bad rap. So for some odd reason, we always wanted to try to do something nice to give us a little bit of peace. And we started with about 5-6 people, brought some toys to Children's Hospital in Denver. And sadly, most of those people are probably dead now. It's sad. We miss them all. And Jesus, every year it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we had, after a while, Lon Uncaffer, one of our great customers, his wife Sandy, assumed the role of Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus. And I tell you, they did awesome. That they put a lot into it and helped make it what a success it is today.
I rode
and
with
Rocky Mountain, Rocky Mountain Harley Davidson. And then unfortunately, Ron passed.
Yeah,
he went to that North Pole in the sky.
Yeah, but
he went with a lot of good wishes. And Jesus, Rocky Mountain Harley Davidson we started at the toy room. We even broke the Guinness Book of World Records one year. Remember that one, Peter?
And yes, sir, I do.
Man, there was bikes leaving Aspen Park, and it was cold that morning. There was bikes reaching the hospital, and back then we had like two-way radios, and we'd relay, and there was still bikes leaving Aspen Park as bikes were landing in the Children's Hospital in Denver.
I've told
we did a lot for those kids, man. The Red Wagon, the Wednesday night pizza for the parents, and those kids, man. One thing I'll always say, if you're talking to somebody and they're telling you how bad their day or their life is, I tell them, take a stroll through Children's Hospital, and then tell me how bad your day is.
I just said that. I said, inevitably, every year somebody makes that remark, you got no problems. And we would go up on the wards, and obviously with you and all the guys, and the people came, and now after 40 years, and it's only, the devil his due, and I don't know how many people were left from that original group, but Prez, they're going to honor you on next Sunday, and you're coming down for it, and it'll really be great. So I want everybody to know that Vinny Terranova started the annual Children's Hospital Toy Run that's now grown, as you point out, so big. I'm going to come back to Keith. Bandit wasn't the great
Well,
line.
well,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I want to say one thing, Peter. I feel I'm not worthy of just me getting the award. There was the Rocky Mountain Harley Davidson Hog Group, Eddie Dane, and everybody's been keeping it alive. This was a group effort. It wasn't just me. I couldn't do this without my friends, my customers, our families, patience, understanding. It's not just me. So if I may, I want to, when I do accept this award, I want to accept it on behalf of all of those that have helped make this run a success, the people at Children's Hospital, just everyone. This wasn't just me, Peter, okay? I couldn't do it without everyone. My family, Kathy, Troy, my wife, Lori, everybody. I mean, this was, and then a real special doctor that is no longer with us, Dr. Larry Ketch. He was one of the main physicians there. I mean, he was like the man, and he saved so many lives and affected so many children in a good way or the best that he could. And I just want to mention him. He'd always ride with us on his bike. Yeah. And boy, you talk about walking in the hospital and taking the limelight. We're going to miss him too. So again, I want to thank everyone who made this possible. The fire department, the police department, friends, everyone. It's not just me, Peter. So thank you for the accolades.
Wow. Regardless, I know what happened, and it's the right time and the right place. Back, if I could, to Keith. What was the great line, Keith, that somebody said, when we do something good, nobody remembers. When we do something bad, nobody forgets. Who had,
yeah.
Was that legit? Yeah.
Yep.
Peter, if you said it, it's legit.
Hey, boss, where did you two meet? Keith, where did you meet Vinny?
Oh,
my cellmate.
It was
I don't know, Vinny. Yeah, exactly. The love ride. Maybe the love ride.
Yeah. Yes, the love rides back when there was a lot of love.
Yeah.
Then again, there's different kinds of love.
Yes, there is.
Right.
I went on one. I went on the last one, and that was the great Peter Fonda ride. And we sat under that tree in that park and talked about that movie and talked about Corman, and he was a really good guy to talk to, especially if you're drawn to the culture. And Peter Fonda knew stuff. How well did you know him, Vince? How well did you know Peter?
Good enough. He had dinner at my house, spent a night whenever he come to town. One time, me and Ugly Vern, he was coming, Peter was riding to Denver, and he ended up in Cheyenne, and he called us. He says, man, somebody's got to come get me. We thought he broke down. And he says, I'm just beat, man. So Vern was in Denver at the time, and we drove all the way up to Cheyenne, loaded the bike, got him back to Denver, came up to the house. We made a nice Italian dinner.
Wow.
And then I told my kids, look sharp, Peter Fonda's coming. They go, who? I go, Peter Fonda, easy. They go, what? What was that? So then I realized, boy, okay, here we go. And then, the stuff that happened that night was hilarious, but that's for another story.
Keith, how important was the movie Easy Rider? I've read the importance of the film, the significance. How important do you think that film was?
Well, if you look back at the industry, the custom motorcycle industry, everything started after Easy Riders was produced and launched. It just touched a chord. Some guys watched it and they, maybe they didn't care for the direction of it or something like that, but it touched a chord. And like I said earlier about the loner, these guys were just a couple of guys, you know, they weren't in a club, they weren't in a group. They were just a couple of guys going out and doing their thing, so it kicked off the whole custom motorcycle industry. If you look at most of the major companies, and even if you looked at Harley Davidson's growth,
oh, absolutely,
everything started after 1969. So like 1970, 1971, man.
But like the clothing and
Through the roof.
and the styles and all that kind of stuff that the big motor companies took and made vests, people call cuts. That doesn't come from them. That comes from the other side, does it not?
The other side,
Meaning not away from the corporate world, but from the street in many ways.
you mean vests?
Yeah,
Well, vests were always worn by clubs, so I think it just fed over. You know,
No, my
I mean,
point,
at first, Vinny, you'll have to chime in on this. In early days, in early club days, I mean, you wouldn't go around a club wearing a vest, just a vest, you know, because the club guys wore the vests, you know. Yeah.
and
Well, like you say, when we were growing up, who were our heroes? We had cowboys, we had truckers, we had bikers, and we had the outlaws.
Yeah.
And to me, easy riding, I was always into motorcycles, and I gotta say that Easy Riders what lit the fuse, and it was on from there.
the movie or
And like you say,
the movie, Vince? I think so. Yeah.
yeah, the movie Easy Rider, and then like you say, your cuts. All of a sudden, you had your real leather jackets, your denim jackets, cut the sleeves off. You started decorating it, and back then World War II was just over, 25 years.
Yeah.
And everybody says, "Oh, look at those guys! They're wearing German and Japanese stuff. They're all Nazis." Hell no, man! Those were awards. That was stuff that they took from the enemy, and they're going, "Man, how do you think Hitler would feel if you see me wearing his stuff? You know, kiss my ass, you know." And that's where a lot of this came from, and it all started. And we lived it, Keith. We did it. We lived it, and it makes me sad to look what's ahead of us. It's,
But I think that's Vince's Peter. This is the beauty, I think, of what Keith's doing. He's going to keep the drive alive. He's going to make sure everybody knows. And of course, they're the younger generation of guys that looks at this stuff, and some of it seems to me from reading, is after a war, that these guys merge after the Second World War. The First World War becomes the lost generation. These are the guys that go to Europe and live on their own, and that the Second World War guys are the guys that started many of the clubs, and then now of course these guys in this era coming back from Iraq and coming back from Middle East, and I noticed that a lot of these guys are now same thing again. Do you see it, Keith? Do you see the pattern again?
Well, Vinny can speak to this. Vinny was at Guadalcanal, and when he came back, he started everything.
But legitimately,
I get blamed for everything.
and some of it you got coming.
Somebody had.
Some of it you got coming.
Somebody had to do it.
Keith, I tell a story. In a lost number of years, I was involved in the bar business. I owned part of a couple of different bars. And so one of the bars we had was on South Broadway. This is a true story, man, sitting there. And I went in, and the guy was my partner. He said, "You see that guy sitting up there at the bar?" He said, "He's the guy, he owns Rocky Mountain Harley Davidson, and you were on Littleton Boulevard." Was it Littleton Boulevard then? The original one.
Back in the early days, Santa Fe and Littleton Boulevard.
So
Boy, I got some stories.
So I tell everybody that story, Keith. He said, "Well, come down there." And I said, "Okay." I opened up the door, and it looked like that bar in Star Wars. With everything going on, and it was Vinny's place. And there are many, many stories of that place. But that's where I met Vinny Terranova. And
right.
Wow. That was a time, brother. That was a time. So you guys don't even know where you met. You don't even remember.
Yeah, the Love Ride.
Probably the Love Ride.
Yeah,
probably Oliver and his crew and that's how I kind of got introduced to. Oh well, no, Micah McCluskey.
Oh, there you go.
You know,
Right.
I used to know a bunch. Vinny, you'll get a kick out of this. Back, and I can't remember these guys' names. There was a couple of big guys, and for some reason I would be around them once in a while, and that was when somebody in the ugly said, "Oh, we're going to go full patch on the back. You know, we're going to do the whole." And you know, there was this whole controversy going on, and in the valley, and of course I've known Micah forever. You know, so such a great guy. But I remember those days, and I'd sort of sit back, you know, because I was a 1% at one time. I kind of sit back, look at these guys, and see the controversy going on between factions within the Uglies, and it was like, ooh.
Hang on, I got to sell something. I'll bring it back, and we'll wrap it up. 710 KNUS, I'm Peter Boyles, Denver's talk station. Coming up, Family of Spies. It's a Saturday, roads are bad. Vinny Terranova and Keith Ball with me. Hold on your hats. We're right back. Ain't no woman like the one I got. Saturday morning, roads are bad. 710 KNUS, I'm Peter Boyles. Good to have you here. Vinny Terranova and Keith Ball, my guests. Coming up, Family of Spies. It's a good Saturday morning. Be careful. Danny Kaplis' law firm, and Dan suggests, and I go along with it, choose an attorney who shares your values, because who you choose to represent you in an injury case says so much about you and everybody involved in the case. I've talked about what Dan did for my family. His dad was a police officer in Chicago. We've talked about Danny growing up, golf scholarships, and believed to be the only attorney in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar jury verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan's believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado history. Danny's firm, of course, the official law firm of the Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche, serious firm for serious cases. If you just got a question, call the man. 303-770-5551, 303-770-5551, or hit dankaplislaw.com. That's Kaplis, C-A-P-L-I-S law.com, 303-770-5551. Our guests, and they're streaming from Sturgis, and next Sunday we will be together. Actually, next Saturday we'll all be together. Vinny Terranova comes down, Children's Hospital's Colorado Toy Run, and, of course, the man with a plan, Keith Ball, the bandit. So it's the bandit and the bandit and the blade. And when you picked up the name, the blade. Yo.
Peter, hold on. Hey, Peter, you were going to talk about the Love Ride.
Oh, that's right. I'm going to transition into
the Love Ride is back.
And it, after how many years is it back? Now, I missed it this year. I went to the last one. Talk about the Love Ride, why it began.
Well, actually, that was Oliver, and Vinny, you could probably speak to that more, why it began.
Okay. It started with Oliver had this big charity for muscular dystrophy, and it just grew from there. And it was probably one of the biggest one-day events raised. Back then, I believe, if Oliver will correct me, I believe they raised over $1 million for a one-day event for muscular dystrophy. And it just went on and on and on, and it was just awesome. And that brings me to remember, Keith, we had our ugly compound, Ugly Motorcycle Club compound, and that was kind of the place to try to get into. And of course, you were always invited with people we all knew. So that is where we all started.
Right.
So Vince, by cleaning it up, how did the club get the name Ugly? By cleaning it up.
Okay.
All right.
Back when some of our charter members they went to pick up when David Crosby got out of prison, they went to pick him up, and he looks back, it's almost like a scene from the Blues Brothers. He looks out, he goes, "Man, I get out of prison, and look at all you ugly guys."
Yes.
And it stuck from there. So Crosby termed it.
That's great.
Peter Fonda told me, he said they had ridden the canyon, and that's where it comes from, was the David Crosby ride. He had been in, and there's shirts, pictures with him, and he's with us, and all of that. Why?
Yeah.
I'm going to Keith. Keith, why is there a magnet for motorcycle clubs, and for that matter, car clubs and other things? But motorcycle clubs, I think, are really set-asides. Why so? You write about it in the intro to Terry the Tramp.
Well, clubs, we all kind of want to join something, and I've always said that I'm not a joiner, but I've joined a lot of things, and a lot of times I'll get out of them because I get disillusioned. But, and Vinny, you'll get a kick out of this. At one time, there were hamsters who wanted to have a full patch. Can you imagine?
That's it. Yeah.
But clubs are, they're just a draw, People want to be, they see a bunch of guys wearing club patches and they just think that's the coolest thing in the world, So, but that applies to almost any kind of club,
I think so too.
Even in communities, I remember when at one time I did a magazine in Ventura County, and I joined the Rotary. and I joined the Rotary because I thought their pin was so cool, you know. but they were cool guys, and they just wanted to support the community, and that was a cool deal, you know, like the Elks or any of those. So clubs are clubs, you know. Find one that you get along with and you enjoy, and you know, like the Uglies have a really positive vibe about them, although they're ugly.
Keith, let me come forward.
Yeah, but it goes to the bone, Keith.
That's right, all the way through.
Yeah.
Keith, why did you do what you just did? In September I think the date was the 25th, you bought the magazine. I mean, we've sat and talked about it, but why did you do what you did? What was the purpose?
You know, yeah, we're living in strange times, you know, and I feel very strongly about, you know, a few elements. One is America. I feel very strongly about America, and I feel like Trump is doing his best to save America. And Vinny will attest to this. Somebody needs to step up and save Harley Davidson.
Yep.
And then the final one, to me, like down the road there, you know, you got America, you got Harley Davidson, and you have Easy Riders magazine, was such an icon for so many years, 54 years. And I found out that they were going to pull the plug. And, you know, I'm 77 years old. But, you know, that really didn't factor into it. I just went, you know, we can't let this go, you know. And so I had an opportunity to make a stab at it, and I did. I stepped up and said, we got to save this brand, you know.
How many years have you been?
Keith, you're right. You are Easy Rider. Easy Rider was a lifestyle. We lived it. We for it. The pictures, we couldn't wait to see the next article to say if we made the pictures and the funds. So you're gonna with Easy Rider magazine. I hope, you hope, we hope that we're going to preserve a legacy and give this next generation, say, wow, I want to live the life that those crazy guys lived.
They did.
So, I mean, you're going to do it. The world is crazy. It's not what it used to be, but I mean, even all old saying, people ask me, how long you been riding? I said, well, I can remember when motorcycles were dangerous and sex was safe, you know? And, but Easy Rider was the Bible. Think of all the appendages that came out of Easy Rider
magazine. It really was. It really, Keith, I mean, when I first met you and I said that to you, I said, hey, we would buy that I didn't have any money back then, but we would buy, it was in brown, do I remember it correctly that it came in brown paper wrapping or something?
Right.
Yeah. See?
Exactly.
Right next to, it was right next to Penthouse. And you had the guy that reach over there and get you a copy of it. Yeah. And we
is that where they were, Peter?
That's what I remember. I mean, of course, what I remember, but that's what I remember. I remember and reading Bandit and going and Rip and all those guys and In the Wind and the fox hunt and everything. That was important, and it really was important and remains important. Yeah,
not even important. That was a lifestyle, Peter. We lived it. I can remember when tattoos weren't cool. Okay, and that's a whole other story. And out of Easy Riders came all the tattoo magazines, thanks to Keith.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, you're talking about a time in history that we all created and lived. Okay. It's like looking back and say you want to be like Jesse James or Bonnie and Clyde. You know, we lived it. We are it. You're looking at.
Oh,
you're looking at
two, it. With you two, yeah. Fellas, I got about 45 seconds. Vinny, we'll be together next Saturday and Sunday. Keith, I'll see you. I'll talk to you on Wednesday. But thanks for doing the show to both of you. I mean, it's a labor of love for all of us, and you two really are the ones. And so to Vinny Terranova and to Keith Ball in Sturgis, South Dakota, thanks, fellas. I'll talk to everybody later on in the day. Vinny, thank you.
And the Love Ride is back. The Love Ride is back.
I'll go with Vinny.
Live from the Black Hills.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thank you. On the other side, you two brothers, Family of Spies, stay here.